Hi everybody and welcome to session 6. Just a quick reminder, course plan kind of tells you what we're doing, big picture in the class, and it kind of lets you focus on what's important. So as you move through the module and you get kind of buried by things, just remember, course plan will tell you very simply what are those things that you really want to make sure you get done in this session. Field experience project, make sure you are wrapping that up. You should probably hopefully be done with it, the actual observation piece at least, by the end of session 6, so that session 7 you can take to actually write your paper and get this thing turned in. The session's issue, it's the last issue of the semester. I know that this makes you sad to know this, but anyway, you know, we can't cover every issue in this class, but I think that we did a good job of addressing big picture and kind of narrowing down, and now we're broadening back out to kind of look at the future a little bit and look at the question of what should schools be. We've seen what they are. We've seen a lot of the problems, and then we've seen huge problems related to poverty. We've seen big problems related to, why can't American test scores go up? We've seen reform in the form of BYOT, just as an example. You've looked at various hot topics in your individual explorations. We looked at the curricular reform of the Common Core, just to name a few examples. Maybe I just named everything we've done. So now the question is, okay, given all of that, it's worth our time to ask, what do we think we're going to see coming in the future? What are schools going to be like in the future? And then the other question I like to ask is, what would ideal schools look like? I kind of ask this because if you guys are going to be in the education system, then you're going to be part of that, shaping of the future schools, potentially, and if you want to be. And I think it's worth challenging you to kind of think about that a little bit. It's hard to think about what we think schools should be like because we were socialized. A lot of us were socialized in American schools, a lot of us in American public schools. I was in public school from 6th through 12th grade, and all my kids have been in public school the whole time, and and I've taught in public schools, and so it's kind of hard to think outside of the box a little bit. I mean, every school's a little bit different, but in a way, a lot of the time, there's a lot of similar things going on in schools, and so it's worth looking at that and questioning the assumptions behind the current design of public schools. And so that's what the first reading is about, Eisner's questionable assumptions about schooling. He says, he gives us a list of the things that he sees being the things that you have to assume about schooling and why schools organize the way it is, and it's a really fascinating read. And so check that out, let that stimulate your mind a little bit. Sawyer, back in 2004, wrote about the schools of the future, and that's a short reading. I don't want you to read the whole thing. I think I asked you to read about 12 pages, and they're like sort of short. There's not a lot of words on each page, so please read it. It's so worthy. And then there's some other readings as well. I'm not looking at the actual blog topic. There's other materials that I want you to look at. But for your response to the blog, I want you to kind of design your own ideal school. So you read all this stuff, you kind of soak in some good ideas from people. Not all of them agree with each other on various points. And then the question is, what do you think we should do? That, more or less. Go check it out. The question is better written than I just said it. Blog Buddies, this is your last time to go read a peer's blog post and promote it on the Google community. Make sure you do that. And for the session 6 takeaways, be sure you jot down your last 3 takeaways. And then we've got a number of projects that need to be submitted at the end of this particular session. The blog posts for sessions 2 through 6, you need to make sure that you've collected all of your links to all your blog posts, put them on your wiki page called blog posts, and you submit that to that particular Dropbox. Those instructions are inside the Dropbox. Go inside the Dropbox and read the instructions there. Don't just rely on what I'm saying in this video. I'm just kind of summarizing and almost glossing over it. For Blog Buddies, you'll submit the same page actually that you submit for blog posts. I probably should have combined those two. I don't know why I didn't do that, but anyway, it's 2 Dropboxes. Go ahead and submit that as well. And then the session takeaways, you're going to give me the link to your session takeaways page, drop that in the Dropbox, and get those off your plate. And then we'll be done with talking about issues, and it will really be time to turn towards wrapping up your class. There's something else that I added to the class. I have 5 hours of embedded field experiences, and they were tied to blog post 1, 4, and 5, I believe, yes. And it could be that if you turned in blog posts 1, 4, and 5, that I could then assume that you indeed did all the things leading up to that. But I wanted sort of an official logging where you said yes or no, I did not do these 5 hours of field experience. So I need you to take that quiz. It's more of a survey than it is a quiz. It's not really a quiz. I think you get 1 point for taking the whole quiz. No matter what you answer, I think you should earn about a point just for your time, I guess. But it's really just an official way to log whether or not you did the 5 hours of field experience that I embedded in the class. Now, if you didn't do the blogs tied to something, like let's say you said, yes, I did the Finland Phenomenon Finland Phenomenon movie, and I did I watched that. But if you didn't do the blog tied to it, then you can't get credit. So you want to make sure you have, if you want these 5 hours, you need 2 things. You need the blogs tied to those course experience, I'm losing my brain. I made like 10 of these videos today. Okay, to get credit for the field experience, you want 2 things. Okay, you want the blog associated with that field experience. We're talking about Kim Hewitt's in-class field experiences. So like blog 1, you watch the Finland Phenomenon, you posted blog number 1, and then the other thing you need to do is tell me on this course embedded field experience logging quiz that you indeed watched the Finland Phenomenon. So it's blog must be done, and you must answer here that you did it, okay, to get the credit. It's not hard, it'll take you about 20 seconds to take the quiz. It's just a way for me to double check and make sure that I'm not giving you credit for something that you didn't do, or vice versa. What if I missed something and we have some kind of misunderstanding? So please take that quiz. And that pretty much wraps up session 6. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the sort of open-ended nature of the issue where we're looking into the future and you get to kind of design your own your own school. I think that's kind of neat. And I look forward to seeing what things you would toss and what things you would keep and what things you would add and to schooling. Would you do it outside in the woods? How would you do schooling? All right. Thanks, and let me know how